Great job. Thanks. Now our second speaker, Mr. Osher Myers, has been a Toastmaster for 3 months. He joined Toastmasters in order to learn English as a first language. You know English better than most of us in this room, Osher. When asked who epitomizes the audacious behavior of bravery, I was thinking about it before you reminded me, he responded, Socrates, or Joan of Arc. Today, Osher will be giving his third speech, Get to the Point. From the Competent Communicator Manual, the objective of his speech is to give a speech organized to achieve a general and a specific purpose. The title of his 5 to 7 minute speech is, Are You Crazy? Please join me in welcoming Osher.
Thank you. My speech conflicts with Sarah's, so I think we're going to have a duel outside afterwards.
Perfect.
So every day we do things that we know we shouldn't. We have this image of ourselves, and we know what we should do, that we shouldn't eat junk food, we should put on sunscreen when we go outside. We know what's best for our long-term health and well-being, and then we go out and do things that are the exact opposite. If you ask someone, okay, do you plan to work out starting next week or in a year from now? They have the same projection, whether it's next week or a year from now or a month from now. But between right now and that next week or next month, totally different people, totally different activities. One of the reasons is that we make that distinction between, oh, this is just for now. We're only making this exception just once. If we had to choose between doing something 100 times and not doing it at all, if it's something bad for you, it's easier to not do it at all. Because, think about brushing your teeth. If you had to not brush your teeth for 100 days straight, that would be pretty gross. But doing it, just once because you're going to bed that night, you're tired, it's easier to excuse. Or, as a professor said to me in a class, consider doing cocaine 100 times. That doing it just once would probably not affect your health, your long-term health. But 100 times would probably have serious effects on your well-being, your lifestyle. I know it's pretty audacious proposing doing cocaine, even just once at a defense contractor. So that's why I buy my drugs at Costco. Because if you want to get something at Costco, you have to be really committed to it. You have to get at least 10 kilos of it, whatever it is. So we reserve our best behavior for our future selves, whether that's next week or next year. The first step to addressing this separation of yourselves is to take responsibility. It's hard to change, and it's even harder to change if you don't see yourself as able to make that change. So I want to talk about some techniques that you can use to make those difficult changes. There was a study of people who were smoking, and they introduced them to different programs to quit smoking. So one set of people were offered $800 cash if they stopped smoking. Another group was put down a $150 deposit, and were told that if they quit smoking, they would get their deposit back and an additional $650, or additional few $100s, but not as much as the other group. And they found that even though this group had less cash on the line to win, they were more anxious to quit smoking, more successful in quitting smoking, just because they put that money on the line. Even though technically, rationally speaking, you would be more incentivized by the prospect of gaining more money. But so you can do that in your own life by making a commitment. Say, if I violate this rule of mine, I will give $100 to charity, or even make a deposit with your family member, your uncle or something. Say, hey, if I break this, then you get to keep the money. Another thing you can do is put a barrier between yourself and the vice. So maybe you have junk food at your desk. Instead of putting the junk food in your drawer, you can put it in a cabinet that requires you to stand up. And you'll find yourself, I guarantee, reaching for it less. You're pitting your laziness against their gluttony. Either way, you win. And actually, that's effective with cell phones. Like if you find yourself using your cell phone a lot, you can lock it up, put it further away from your desk, or even leave it in your car, because you probably don't need to access it that often at work. So look for cues. Again, with the cell phone, you may feel impulses to check your phone. Identify, maybe there's something in the environment that's making you feel that way. And change that about your environment. You can also try and train yourself to respond differently. When you feel that urge to engage in a vice, instead of indulging in it, you can get up from your desk and stretch, walk around a little bit instead. Give in, but selectively. Swearing off a certain vice can be pretty daunting. So daunting that you almost give up immediately. Instead, you can compromise and allow yourself to give in, but only under certain circumstances, in a way that's limited. So I'll eat junk food, like candy bars, but I'll never buy it. I only eat it when I get it for free. This way I save money and reduce my exposure to junk food. Find an alternative. Maybe you drink soda every day, and the prospect of giving it up seems very difficult. Instead of focusing on the negative, look for an alternative. Instead of saying, I'm going to stop watching TV, say, okay, what am I going to do with that time instead? You know, I'll spend more time with my children, or I'll read books. And lastly, accept that things will suck initially. First time you cook a new recipe or use a new kitchen appliance, it feels really awkward. You know, it seems to take way longer than it should, or everything seems to be going wrong. You just have to give yourself some familiarity to get past that point, past the point of awkwardness. It's not about where you are now, it's about where your habits will take you in the months ahead. And so I'm sorry to give a speech that's a total conflict with what you gave, that making you focus on your future self. Thank you.